Hi everyone. So based on our analysis of Fifth Town, we've kind of come up with 5 key takeaways that we believe that other rural Eastern Ontario companies can implement to help them achieve success as well. I mean, this is the overall purpose of the Monison project. So the first key takeaway is that Fifth Town has really been able to develop a unique product. They offer organic cheese. In addition, they've also been able to sort of leverage the positive societal benefits, I would say, of being green and being sustainable in a society that we live in right now. These are the kind of companies that we want to do business with, and these are the kinds of companies that are really garnering a lot of interest. Now, the next key takeaway is that they have an extremely strong management team, and everyone at the company is committed towards excellence, and they're committed towards the overall success of the product. When Amanda and Ryan went to visit the company, everyone was very dedicated, and they were very passionate towards the product that they were offering. The third key takeaway is that they've done a really good job of leveraging sort of the synergistic benefits of doing business in Prince Edward County. They're part of a lot of trade shows. In addition, because it's generally a tourist destination with a lot of inflows and outflows of tourists, they've sort of been able to use this as a mechanism to sort of springboard and push their products to other regions in Canada. Fourthly, they've also been able to use some of the strategic relationships that Ryan mentioned. They've done a lot of business with the regional suppliers, and they've also sort of used their other competitors and sort of felt the synergies of doing business with their competitors as well. And finally, they've done a really good job of financing themselves and taking advantage of some of the programs that are available in Eastern Ontario to help companies such as these flourish. They've done a lot of business, I guess, with PILA and other sorts of foundations that have helped them finance themselves. So in conclusion, we'd basically like to quote Fifth Town here. Basically, they say that Fifth Town, our approach to cheesemaking means preserving the environment while striving to delight and surprise the discerning palate. So on that note, we'd like to conclude our presentation. We'd like to thank all of you for listening. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much. And I'm going to invite Petra Cooper to come up. She's the owner and founder of Fifth Town, and I'm glad to announce that I just got an email from this morning saying you just received on Monday the Premier's Award for Innovation in Agri-Food, so congratulations. And
Thank you, Jeff, and I'm delighted to be here. And I first want to thank the students, the project team, for an excellent presentation. I think they made us look really good. Lindsay, Justine, Ryan, and Mengi, thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. They were able to distill down, as someone mentioned, the 10 hours of research that we all talked to them, and they managed to somehow put this all down in a coherent fashion. So thank you for that. I wanted to maybe take this opportunity to say how important I think the KISS initiative is, because I think there are case studies for rural business success stories and so on are really important, especially to new investors like myself and my husband. We're city folk. Up until 5 years ago, I'd never even seen a live goat except for on TV. So this was a big initiative for us, and just a little bit of background on that. We decided to do this, which is often the question that comes up, because we wanted a bit of a change in lifestyle. My husband grew up in the county, and so we looked at the county as a place, and we were interested in authentic foods as a theme, and we were interested in the environment as sort of a challenge, to say what could we do to build the greenest enterprise out there. The green sustainability initiatives were highlighted quite a bit, and I wanted to mention a little bit about that. It's super expensive. I know it came up a couple of times about the added costs all the way through the line, but we're confident that that's going to pay off. Maybe not directly, and as the group presented, 7 to 8 years in terms of return on investment, or at least recovering your investment in that. That's a long period to recover and invest. You know, that doesn't get financial institutions really excited. And In fact, slow food was mentioned a couple of times, and I like to think I'm into slow food, and I'm also into slow business. And I can tell you from the financial side, if you're not cash flow positive as fast as possible, or you can't triple your earnings in 3 years, it seemed like a silly business idea to get into. So we were heavily dissuaded at the front end of this, thinking no one gets into manufacturing. Nobody really spends real money on real capital to develop a real product, and then, heaven forbid, start to market it and develop sales one customer at a time. It's sort of old-fashioned business, isn't it? I sort of stand here now after the financial crisis in the fall thinking, maybe we weren't so wrong about that after all. The second thing I want to mention is about the industry potential. I believe strongly that small-scale dairying and specialty dairying, including ice cream and specialty butters, is a huge opportunity for Eastern Ontario and other rural areas. The group mentioned the growth potential, but I should add to that by saying in Quebec, where there's been a lot of support for small-scale dairying, they have over 85 small-scale dairies similar to Fifth Town and some farmstead ones. And there, the revenues from those types of dairies are over $115 or $130 million a year. To give you a sense of the Ontario industry comparison for the same size and same number of operations, we have less than 10 if you compare them apples to apples, and we're under $5 million a year. So there's a tremendous opportunity to develop that segment of the dairy industry. I wanted to also comment on the partnership point that was made as one of the success aspects, and it has been extremely important, especially for newcomers. And if you're from the county, you know that I'll have no hope of being a county person. I'm too old, and I haven't been there for 50 years, and probably may not be there for 50 years. So the partnerships are really important with Dan Taylor, who's here in the audience today. He may remember our first luncheon at the Wapoos Winery, and we were discussing whether or not he thought it would be a good idea to put a dairy here, and put us in touch with a number of people, and they taught us and helped us develop the concept so that it would work. So partnerships were very important. I also want to mention that sometimes there's an overemphasis on rural partnerships and with rural organizations. I'm a big believer that you also have to develop your urban partnerships. After all, we're closest to 3 huge markets, and to ignore them is at your peril. And so you also need to make sure you keep a foot and develop strategic partnerships in your major markets. And the other thing I just thought I would mention was if I were standing here today, which I am, and it's several months after the group has been out to Fifth Town, yes, we still have our 7 employees. We actually have up to 14 now with part-timers coming on for the summer. We're looking for a cheese intern that we take on every summer to teach cheese making. We've had several successful seminars. I would add another leg to this, which is education, having that be part of your business plan. So we try to develop more cheese appreciation and cheese makers. And what was I going to say after that? I was on a good roll. Does anybody know? I think maybe that I'll just mention that another project or theme that people, or the KISS grant could be directed towards is, in our biggest challenge now that we're a little bit later, it said $1 million in sales there, I think, the first year. Well, I'm going back to that slow business, so you can't make $1 million in a year. But, we're heading, the curve is in the right direction, and we're very pleased with our progress so far. But I would say our biggest problem has been distribution, getting the physical product. Generating demand hasn't been an issue. It's been getting the physical product from point A to point B. And I'd love to see more success stories on distribution strategies for small-scale producers and how they can get them to market in the larger urban areas around us. So once again, thank you so much to the group. I thought they did an amazing job. If you're ever looking for a job, hopefully we'll expand to the point where we can take on some of the fine graduates from Queens. So thank you.